We have found since the project that there is enthusiasm now to do something this year, and I'm talking with the good people at Berrien who want to put on a concert of some of the Roseland carols in December this year. But of course they want to include more of the Berrien carols in the mix. But so that's something we're starting to work on. We're also starting to work on some of the carols that we've got in the collection, that we might perform some of those in the Cornish language, and add those to other projects that the Federation back. So there's that going on. We also mentioned that we had collected some of Christabel's carols, which we only had the words to. One of those is actually an Easter carol, which is called In the Garden. And in the collection, we only have it in here with just the words. I can say that this year now, Yvonne Fuller and Peter Meanwell have worked with that carol, and I now have 2 new musical settings for that carol, one written by Peter Meanwell and another by Yvonne Fuller. So it just shows what you can do and what you can start to achieve with the legacy of a project like this when you've driven up enthusiasm.
It's wonderful to see it snowballing, isn't it? I think the very basic aim of that this project started with was to collect Roseland carols, and we've come out with a collection and quite a lot more than that. And the hope is that it continues to snowball. You know, putting the book out there so that the music's in people's hands. And giving people the enthusiasm and the confidence that they can sing these songs, and I think what I love about the Cornish carols and the traditions I've been involved with or researched is that I'm not saying anything new or groundbreaking in this at all, but music creates community. Singing together is a shared experience, both between the singers and the listeners. And whether it's a one-off, you know, whether or not the Roseland Carol Choir continues 100 years into the future in the same format, or whether it moves and meanders and takes different directions and has dips and peaks and all the rest of it. The music is the vehicle for community, and the community is the vehicle for the music. I think it's this wonderful relationship, and brings people together in a way quite unlike other things. And so I'm drifting into slight incoherence now, but what I'm trying to say is I think that the project's had a simple aim, which I think has had a lot of resonance.
One other thing, I think you're right. Is that I think I said earlier when we were talking that when you bring music and dance into a sort of heritage project, it takes on a life of its own that's quite different and quite special. One other thing I probably should mention is that the Heritage Centre at Gerrans, we did put on an exhibition of Roseland music, including the carols, last year, and that's where we had held the Memory Day. So that premises sort of acted a little bit as an anchor for the project, and that we've submitted both the music of the Roseland Project and the Roseland Carol Project to the Heritage Awards this year. And I'm very pleased to say that both projects have been nominated for the Heritage Awards this year, and that Kate and I will be presenting at the Heritage Awards next month.
I think they've been nominated for innovation and collaboration, haven't they?
They have.
So we're very pleased that both those things have been recognised by the board there, and looking forward to the chance to talk about them to even more people in the east of Cornwall over in Liskeard.
They give tremendous pleasure, these sorts of projects, to be able to pull together and to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, no one should underestimate how much hard work goes into it for everybody involved, you know, whether it's the person that's writing the book, putting the music together, doing the research, rehearsing the choirs. It's just as it's tremendously pleasing, and particularly when you look back on a lot of it, gives you a lot of satisfaction. But I think that you've got to realise that they probably are 2 or perhaps sometimes even 3-year projects if you want to do them justice.
This ended up being a year in the planning and a year in the doing, didn't it?
Yeah. So giving yourself enough time, I think, would be my key bit of advice to anybody that was embarking on something similar.